What is up, guys? Welcome back to a quick video here. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone's doing well. We're hanging out with Jesse. We're going to review our top 10 player props for week 4. Jesse, how are we feeling today?
Hey, we're doing good. It's week 4, shorter preseason. Basically, we've had our preseason now. Weeks 1 through 3 preseason. This is it. Week 4. We're ready to party.
It feels like we're dialed in this week. I feel pretty good about the list that we have. You guys can check it out. I'm going to put a link in the comments if you guys want to check out the list. And there's a bunch of other props to consider below, but this is our list of our 10 that we feel really good about. Marvin Harrison Jr. atop the list, anytime touchdown, -110. These odds might have changed. Again, we're recording this Saturday morning, so there might be some shifting of these. Just double check. But Marvin Harrison's scoring in this one. Just tell the people how bad Washington is.
Yeah, as we know, just to wide receivers, already 9 touchdowns on the year. That is insane. I think the next closest is 6. So, it's a sieve. You featured the pass game. Marvin Harrison, we know can do it. All it takes is one catch, one play. He's in the end zone.
And I thought I saw a tweet this morning or last night on how many points the number 1 receivers have been getting against the Commanders, and it's insane. Like, it might be, I don't know, Harrison could go 7 for 100 and 1 or 2 touchdowns in this one. I'm very excited about Marvin Harrison. So lock that one in. And then this Brian Robinson Jr. anytime touchdown is +115. No Austin Eckler in this one. And then we're pairing it with a Jaden Daniels anytime touchdown. Tell the people how this one works.
Yeah, the fellowship, the infamous double tap, we've been doing it every week. It usually hits. I don't know if we've missed a double tap yet since we started doing that maybe a couple of years ago. But Jaden Daniels, we know he loves the read option in the red zone. Brian Robinson's going to be there every single time they're in the red zone. And all it takes is one guy to get in, and you hit. And if they both hit, then you get a little bit of extra.
Yeah, so it's kind of like hedging your bet, but one of these guys is scoring tomorrow. And I think the chances of both of these guys running for a touchdown, or I guess in Brian Robinson's case, catching a touchdown too, is totally in play. And I think the team total, the implied total in that game is probably almost 50 points. So you're probably looking at 3 Washington Commanders touchdown. There's a good chance that both these guys are involved. Number 3 is Najee Harris with the anytime touchdown. It would be his first touchdown on the year, but why do we like him to get his first one of the season?
Yeah, the big one is Jaylen Warren being out. Jaylen Warren's just another guy taking up touches. They do have Cordell Patterson, who looks like he's playing. He'll be all right. But I think when it comes to the red zone usage, you're going to get Najee in there. Indianapolis Colts, from a defensive perspective, not very good. They've only given up 1 touchdown on the year, so I think this is a little bit of regression to how bad they've been. And Najee finally, also combining that with his first touchdown of the year, it feels pretty good at plus odds.
I like looking at this chart because, they give up the most yards, and then look at the other teams that have given up a lot of yards. You're seeing 3, 6, and 4 touchdowns. That number, that one, it's probably going to be at least 3 next week. I think maybe Cordell Patterson even gets in to the end zone, and maybe Justin Fields too, just as a runner. Maybe that's a good way to attack it. So we like the Steelers running the ball. Number 4 is Aaron Jones, anytime touchdown. Is he Lambeau leaping in Green Bay?
This is our squad. So Aaron Jones, we miss him, I think, and he's already said he's going to do the Lambeau leap if he scores. I think this is a game where both Jacobs and Aaron Jones have success. I think it's going to be a really good divisional game.
Yeah,
you already highlighted that Jair might not be playing, so things could get a little spicy here. Jordan Love probably playing. They're kind of like playing the whole game. They're cat and mouse, but I think he's playing this game.
I'd say 80% chances playing. Packers on the year, they've given up 235 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, but nothing really happened last week against Tennessee. But they did allow Saquon to get his 2 rushing touchdowns, and then I thought Jonathan Taylor ran the ball really well against the Packers. So I'm expecting
Jones through the air too.
Yeah, I'm expecting Jones to be pretty featured in this game. It's his first game back, and if you want to have some fun, you could take an Aaron Jones anytime touchdown and put it with a Josh Jacobs. Did you have that Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, Jacobs is -105. So okay. If Jacobs hits and Jones doesn't, you lose just a little bit. It's basically even, but I think it's likely they both score. And Jacobs hasn't found the end zone yet, and I think he's top 5 in touches on the year. So.
Yeah. And I think same thing for Najee Harris too, not finding the end zone yet. It's week 4. We're seeing some regression candidates here. Both Jacobs and Harris could be the guys. Nico Collins, number 5, anytime touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars that just allowed 4 touchdowns through the air to Josh Allen. This is minus 110. We like this one quite a bit. Nico Collins, man coverage beater, no Tank Dell. Anything to add there with
Nothing to add. He's the guy. I mean, he's probably the slate breaker in DFS this week. He's going to be very chalky for good reason. Yeah. Sometimes you just eat the chalk.
We did want to add, speaking of chalk, if Joe Mixon's not playing, we're going to probably like the Cam Akers numbers. I believe he was minus 130 or so to score a touchdown. So they are expecting him to be the starting back. We're not expecting Joe Mixon, but we didn't see any rushing or receiving numbers on Texans backs yet. So keep that in mind. And then number 6, Travis Kelce. Is he getting his first touchdown of the year against the Chargers?
This is the squeaky wheel game right here. Travis Kelce, we know he's probably on the twilight of his career, probably his last year, just reading the tea leaves. But it's been 3 weeks. We have no Kelce touchdowns. T Swift is going to be in LA. Get right. He has scored 6 touchdowns in the last 4 games against the Chargers. They are without Derwin James. This is probably, in my opinion, Travis Kelce's best game of the year. And, we just want to be part of that plus 155.
And on the flip side of that, if you have Travis Kelce in fantasy and he has a good game this week, we're selling Travis Kelce. Like we're flipping him for Dalton Kincaid. We're flipping him for Jake Ferguson. I'd rather have Ferguson, I think, rest of the season. So something to keep in mind there. And then the other part of his touchdowns, like we like his touchdown a lot, but his receptions were getting hit for the overs. I think he was at 4.5. And his yards were in like the 40s, and people were taking that. So 5 for 50 and a touchdown for Kelce is probably what we're looking at here. I feel good about this game for him. And then in that game, too, we got Carson Steele over 43.5 rushing yards, minus 115. This one feels like a no-brainer. Like he's going to get his 15 to 18 carries. I know Kareem Hunt's active for this game. I'm not expecting a huge Kareem Hunt day. They like Carson Steele. Mm-hmm. If he gets 15 carries, man, he's probably hitting 70 plus. This is way too low. Like, what's the highest? Like, if you could set Carson Steele's rushing yards for Vegas, what would you set it at?
Yeah, I think like probably 50, right around that, like 50 number would get me thinking. But like, I mean, we have a lot of yards to play with. We probably have 2 carries worth to play with on him touching his over under. I mean, the Chargers in general, they've been okay against the run. I think the big thing is really like, he's kind of their grinder. They don't have another guy to be their grinder.
Also, 0 touchdowns allowed for the Chargers. Talk about regression in week 4. That's probably not going to be a 0 next week when we're looking at this. And then as I say that, I just want to see what other teams. The Eagles have not allowed a rushing touchdown. The Falcons, the Chargers, and the Steelers. So 4 teams without a rushing touchdown. We'll see. These are going to turn to ones eventually here, so something to look at for you guys. And then we're getting into the Raiders game here. Jakobi Meyers. We were torn. We were looking at Brock Bowers. We were looking at Jakobi Meyers. Why did we go with Jakobi Meyers over 4.5?
Yeah, I think the big one is obviously we know Devontae Adams out. That opens up the door for Jakobi to be number 1, Bowers number 2. It's kind of a 1A, 1B situation, right? So when we're looking at the numbers, we're seeing Jakobi 4.5, Bowers was 5.5. And it was beat up. It was Bowers' yards were higher by 8 yards or so. Jakobi was more at 44.5. So what did we look at? We looked at 4.5 receptions for Jakobi. It was the only one that was plus odds. He is the number 1 guy. When he has been the number 1, he's had some really good games. Last week he was able to get 7 catches, got the touchdown, hit around 90 yards. No reason why he can't hit that. Certainly liking the 5 catches for Jakobi.
He might hit that by halftime, honestly. We know they can't run the ball. They're going to try to, but I would say the Raiders are probably the worst running team in football, and I know Denver's close, but I think the Raiders are pretty bad. And in that game, too, Zamir White, 43.5 yards. I think we're liking the under on that one as a bonus if you guys want to check that one out.
We thought about it. It was between Michael Pittman or Zamir White. Michael Pittman was the no-brainer, right?
Yeah, tell them why we're taking the under on 4.5 receptions for Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. From the Colts side of the ball, Pittman has yet to catch 5 balls on the year. Josh Downs is back. And on the Steelers' defensive side of the ball, they have yet to allow a single receiver to catch 5 passes in a game. So it's a combination of probably maybe the best defense in football right now against the Colts, maybe one of the worst passing games in football right now.
Yeah, they're allowing under 8 catches to receivers per game. And, Pittman, it's just he doesn't mesh well right now with Anthony Richardson. I think I like Pierce and Josh Downs over Pittman this week. But we'll finish up here. We're going to add a Sunday night game here. Dalton Kincaid over 38.5 receiving yards, -120. I think we're going to start to see Dalton Kincaid start to ramp back up and be that potential top 5 tight end that we were hoping he drafted. 38.5 feels a little low, and this game's going to be potentially a lot of fun. I think there's going to be a lot of big plays in this game, and the Ravens struggling against tight end. What do we got for the Ravens against tight ends?
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens have allowed 2 90-yard receivers to tight ends this year in a year where tight ends kind of got off to a slow start. They also allowed 37 and 34 yards to Gray and Kelsey. So from that perspective, Kincaid is the guy. We're not about to see a Knox 60-yard day.
Yeah.
Then when you look at Kincaid's side, week 2, you mentioned, he had 33 yards. He was set to have a big day, got hit. They thought maybe concussion, but he was okay, but didn't really play much the rest of the game. Week 3, he had 41 yards and basically a quarter worth of play. He probably would have had a 100-yard game if they would have been in a close game against the Baltimore Ravens. We expect a close game, right?
And again, the Ravens about 8 catches and 93 yards per game to the tight end position right now. And look at that. You got a little 0 right there in the touchdown department. Kincaid got 1 touchdown last week. That might be a fun. I don't know what his odds were for anytime touchdown, but I think that one's definitely in play. And then is this a Kyle Pitts sighting potentially? We'll see. Just something to keep an eye on there. But that's our list of top 10 prop bets. Did you have anything else that you want to just shout out or let the people know about? I think the Mike Evans, Chris Godwin combo, that's our staple. If you guys want to take Mike Evans with a Godwin touchdown, take them separately, but one of them is going to score. If not both, we feel good about that. Anything else for the people?
Yeah, we did talk about Nico Collins and the Texans, like in Cam Akers.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is going to throw touchdowns eventually. You talk about Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas double tap. They're both over plus 200. It's a little bit riskier one, but the Jags got to figure it out, right? It can't get worse than last week.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to share some nuggets here. These guys have hit their props all 3 weeks this year. Saquon Barkley's been over 75.5 rushing yards. No Devonta Smith, no A.J. Brown. We're looking at a pretty heavy Saquon Barkley day. Rashee Rice has gone over 73.5 receiving yards in all 3 games. Alvin Kamara has been over 95.5 total yards in 3 games. And James Cook on Sunday Night Football, he's been over 79.5 rushing and receiving yards in 3 games. So a lot of good stuff in there. Breece Hall. Take Breece Hall today or tomorrow. I think we're looking at a Breece Hall game as the Jets kind of struggle to pass the ball. So his numbers look really good. I don't know. That's all we got. Are we excited for week 4? I'm pretty pumped about it. Any final things there, Jesse?
Yeah, it should be a fun week. Get ready for Taysom Hill Day.
Woo! Taysom Hill against Atlanta. I like it. Packers versus Vikings is where my attention is going to be tomorrow. But I'm going live tomorrow morning. If you guys want to hang out with me, 10:30 a.m. Central Time, we'll get the actives and inactives out there for you guys and answer any questions you need. But enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace.
Adios.
Thank you.